my fountain's going on over here. That has nothing to do with it. A lot of things are trending. Once in a while I will click on it and I'll just see what it is. I usually know what I'm looking for. But all these motivational speeches, I'm worn out because my mind thinks all day. No matter what I'm doing, cleaning, sometimes going through my phone clips of everything, a bird. You're not supposed to want for anything. In fact, it says so right there on the wall at the hospital. Yeah, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, and though I will fear no evil. Wait, I will want nothing. We won't want nothing. Oh, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Okay. Now, I wondered, is the Lord my shepherd that I don't want? Like, that's a shepherd I do not want? Or is the Lord my shepherd so I shall not want for anything? Okay, that's fine. Don't say that you want something. Oh, no, sorry, that's the law of attraction. Wow, I'm confused. You don't want or need anything. Okay, you already have it. By Alan Watts in the 60s, 70s, I don't know. All right, so he's a famous philosopher, was. Of course, he probably might still be because he's like living, or, you know what I mean, he's gone. Whatever. Not that you want it, but that you do have it already. You already have everything you want. So you don't want for anything. Kind of blending with the Bible with that concept. That's great, but, okay, I've got 15 friends standing here. Okay, well, I don't really know 15 people anymore that haven't moved on somewhere else or passed on to the other side. But anyway, I have 15 people standing right here talking to me right now. And you see, because now what we've got is another problem. That would send me to the mental hospital. This would bring me back to questioning. They've questioned me if I'm schizophrenic. I bet there's a lot of schizophrenics now that everyone's going around pretending they have everything that they thought they wanted. Well, that really leads me a question, what the fuck? What are we supposed to want or do? Because you don't need anything. You already have everything you need. Now, I believe this. So I can see this, but if I just got dropped off on Earth right now, just dropped off, and I looked around, and I read around, and this is sort of what happened, because I was in seclusion for a minute, had my disc and my back come out. I have read a lot, and it's sort of like that. I was just by myself, so I got to know what it is. The world is going on, what they're thinking out there. All right, so here's what I'm just confused. You don't want for anything, you already have everything, you say you have it. Then if you say you have it, you already have it, then aren't you going to get content and not really go for anything? You're not going to go for it. Why would I need to go for something if I already have it? So it's not about the motivation. If I have to hear someone talk me into going for something, it's probably not a passion, in which case that would fall into another category, big gap, actually, big fat gap. The key to happiness, I forgot who said this. Another one of those famous philosophers, thinkers, something. One of those people that I sat there and looked out their window. Actually, Alan Watts. I think maybe Einstein said it too. You want to get paid for doing what you love to do. There's happiness. So it doesn't really matter whether it's a waste of time or it doesn't matter. So I understand that part. So then at this point, we don't even need a motivational speech, because what it all boils down to is an expiration date. Another thing it boils down to is I think everybody just wants to be appreciated for who they are. So imagine if you walked up to each person you encounter every day and you treat them as if they're Jesus Christ, and they treat you the same. Treat everybody like they're amazing, like they're a footprint in the sand. Each person being a footprint, a word, a reflection, a glisten, a snowflake. So if a snowflake can look so unique, I'm not so sure how unique they are, but they're very detailed, put it that way, after falling so far. Isn't that interesting that something cold and wet can fall from the sky and it turns into a perfect shape just by falling from the sky, where I think it was written that Lucifer fell and became, or the devil, I don't know what he was up there in heaven, but if he came from up there, he's sort of like a snowflake, which means he hits the ground and he disappears. It's not like I said, he just appears. Okay, so part of me is just appearing right now, and then another part of me is living some other kind of life that isn't really me, because I have a passion for what I'm saying, but I don't have a passion to say it. I don't really know what I'm talking about anymore. The point is, if I already am imagining I have what I think I want, but I'm not supposed to want anything, so I'm lying to myself. Do I have this right? Okay, let's pretend I want a new car. I already have it. Okay, now I'm delusional. There's so many conflicting ways of doing things, and I'm sorry, but from what I can understand, and this is just the view from my window in life, there's not one way of doing anything, because if my foot did the same thing my mouth did, I'd probably be real active, because I talk to this thing a lot. Some of them I post, some of them I don't. I forgot what I just said. This is as confusing as the Holy Bible, which holy. Jeans are ripped up and faded. We get a whole block of cheese, but when you take off one slice, holes in it, and that could be holy. Okay, so the whole E. What if that's the whole E, like the eternal? What if it's two C's together? But the thing is, things sound different than they are. Justified, no. Justified by what? What's justified? I mean, that is, I think. So anyway, speaking of sewing, quilt and gilt, there's not a lot that's different except that Q, in English this is, it has a whipping tail. The sewing is the thread that goes through all these different concepts, and they all come together. From what I can tell, everything's right. Every circumstance, situation, feeling I'm experiencing, I can only take it as the Word of God. That's what the Word of God is to me, is everything. And I know what books are inspired by God, which is all books. He made sure that if one is to ask it, if it's inspired by God, the opening line is always in the beginning. The first words of the book, if it is in the beginning, it's inspired by God. And the clever thing about that is that all books' first words are in the beginning. How amazing. Of course, Hebrews read from the right, so the back of the book to us, to the left, the front of the book to us, and then we go the opposite way. And what we have here is another parallel, which is cool if you ask me, because you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. But I'm not sure that anyone knows what that happiness is. To me, that happiness is when you realize how all things come together like so. That's pretty much all I had to say about that. Now, I'm going to go get motivated on something that I don't want and pretend that I already have it. And then I might eat a Pop-Tart. When I don't really have it, and then when they ask if I'm hearing voices, I'm going to say, no, no, I've convinced myself of all of this. I don't hear anyone telling me. That's probably even worse, because at least I'm hearing the voice of the person talking to me. I'm hearing my own voice right now. Comedy's a heaven. And I think also like The Amazing Race. It's just almost Amazing Grace. Was that intentional? Because I think that's really clever, just like the words in the beginning of every book. That's another thing that I think is quite clever, so.